Hi, everyone. My name is Shaaf, and it's a pleasure to be here today and present on our ongoing Principles into Practice project that's aimed at unlocking AI's industry potential through collaborative governance. So just a little bit about me. I'm currently pursuing a master's in health informatics at the University of Toronto, which has offered me an open runway to collaborate with various different public and private sector organizations for healthcare, whether that's AI and beyond. And I've also worked closely on the strategy side of digital health, collaborating with companies such as UHN, Ontario MD, and the Ontario Medical Associations. I've worked on the strategy side with nation health leaders at Digital Health Canada, and now I'm currently working as a AI project management intern here at Vector. So today I'll be taking us through the purpose of my project, the problem it addresses in the current state, the project structure, and some of the key challenges that we face along the way. And then I'll shift towards my perspective on where I envision this project going in terms of future directions and key milestones. And then finally, I'll end up with some of the lessons I've learned as part of this and what I hope to learn as part of the future iterations. But before we begin, I thought it would be worth tackling one of the key topics that have been plaguing all our LinkedIn feeds. What is AI governance and why should we care about it? Now, given the current context of the AI revolution, we're living in a time where operating a company is more like flying a plane, which you're trying to innovate. You need to keep it flying while also trying to find ways to improve it. So now I know we're all excited about the AI revolution, but why should we care about how it is governed within our organizations? So I did what most of us have been guilty of doing and asked ChatGPT. And to make it even more interesting, I thought, who better to ask than the great inventor, visionary of his time, and polymathic extraordinaire, Leonardo da Vinci. So I asked ChatGPT, why would Da Vinci be good at AI governance? And in classic Da Vinci fashion, I got quite a colorful and complex response full of words and phrases that I didn't know any clue about. So I asked ChatGPT to explain it to me like I was five. However, amidst all of this information, I did find one key insight that I've listed to the left, and this addresses my left to your right, and this addresses the interplay between AI technologies, stakeholders, and potential perils. Da Vinci said that it requires a diverse assembly of experts from the various domains of technology, ethics, law, policy, and more. In other words, AI governance required a collaboration of multidisciplinary expertise. So now that Da Vinci has settled that debate, let's move on to Vector's role in this mission. As most of you are aware, Vector recently published a set of 6 guiding AI trust and safety principles that provide a starting point for organizations at the beginning of their AI journey or for more established organizations to build on the things that best suit their needs. However, given Vector's role as a central hub of Canada's AI ecosystem, it has an expansive network of organizations, each of which have a unique set of needs, organizational priorities, and capabilities. Therefore, looking at the industry side of Vector, while these rules, although principle-based, are good to help us justify the need for best practices, that's only half the battle. Therefore, we come across this problem where there's a level of cream skimming when it comes to applying generalized approaches to decipher multifaceted understanding of AI governance and industry applications. So what we need to do is shift our focus away from this towards best practices to show how we can implement emerging technologies of AI in granularity within organizations, and that requires appropriate collaborative governance. And that's what led to our inflection point as part of our project. With this project, we aim to establish an industry-centric AI executive forum that will facilitate the practical implementation of Vector's AI trust and safety principles, paving the way for safe and effective AI strategy development. To fulfill this vision, we use a triple threat approach that combines the Vector expertise along with the principles that it provides with the unique organizational insights and best practices from industry leaders, and then it weaves it into the fabric of the ongoing dialogues, shared values, and emerging technologies that we see in industry. Now, what does that look like? We take the principles that Vector has provided us, and we have siloed them into various domains, as you can see, into key themes like use case discovery, governance, practical implementation, and some of the other aspects that the industry leaders have told us to oversight. Now, based on these themes, we can also create sessions that incorporate some of these principles and provide a rich diversity of thought for our executive audience, with each offering a different area of focus. So some of the ones I've highlighted here, and these could change with time, is risk, control, governance, accountability, and each of these would be free for our participants to choose from based on their unique expertise. So currently, we plan on offering 3 sessions, each incorporating 2 Vector principles and catered towards a different audience, ranging from privacy, operations, legal, security, and governance. exactly how DaVinci would have hoped. So by doing so, we want to create a dynamic forum that A, provides a one-stop shop for senior executives to gather, identify best practices for AI within the industry, B, understand the correlation between AI principles and the corresponding risks to enable independent evaluation of their organizational capabilities, and C, from the Vector side, provide a bird's eye view to deliver appropriate insight into the different industry matters, and also be involved in the process of articulating how different AI industry leaders can articulate and form different use cases. In terms of some of the project milestones, we're looking to host the project roadshow and call for participation in August and September. The actual forum sessions will be held in November, and our final showcase is projected to be held in December. And this is where the participating organizations can learn what resources Vector has to offer that can help with actioning some of the topics that they are most interested in for their organizations. In terms of my contributions, I will be helping to complete the initial deck for the sponsors and help to align some of the internal teams, such as the health team and the ones that are interested as part of this project. I'll also be working on the session setup to find relevant and highly applicable prompts for executive leaders to engage with, and also have a productive discussion around some of the areas of focus that they confide in. Given Vector's recent relocation plans, which I'm sure has been super convenient for everyone, I also need to find a way to engage all of these sponsors and executives in a neutral place that is also appropriate for a roundtable discussion. And finally, I'll be helping to confirm the sponsors and regulatory partnerships as part of this project. Now, during the design phase of our project, we had a critical question to address because of the executive body that we're dealing with. And that is, how do you really engage senior leadership and executives at an appropriate level while producing productive outcomes? Now, we realize that not all organizations that we engage with have the same appetite for AI and some of the use cases. So we need to be able to look at the feasibility, the viability, and the desirability of their AI use case. So we wanted to use the forum to provide each organization, regardless of where they stand in these three modalities, to be able to come to the forum with their unique insight and find the sweet spot for their use case, helping them to build that foundation from the ground up. So in addition to making these sessions free to choose from, we also decided to take a step back and find a way to help them benchmark needs so they can all be part of a collaborative discussion. Now, this is where I was able to use some of my knowledge from similar projects in the past, mostly around healthcare, where we engaged some healthcare executive forums and apply it here. So one way we did that was by carefully designing the prompts to cover a diverse range of principles and perspectives that are both impact-focused and technical-focused. And by creating prompts for the technical nerds in here, that's called prompt engineering, but the project management way. But so that's what we're able to do. We're able to gain diverse modalities of AI governance prompts and cater them to the different topics that our clients most or our sponsors most confided in. For example, we had more impact-focused prompts, such as how can companies use accountability for AI as a business differentiator, which is derived from Principle 6, or more of a system-focused prompt. How can companies use AI to enhance operations, securities in areas such as identification verification or fraud detection? So things that most of the executive sponsors might be able to confide in. And that one's derived from Principle 3. So our goal is to give our audience a big picture perspective that is scalable and allow their disjointed inputs that they have as part of the project to flow in an interactive manner. So now that brings us to today. In terms of our vision, I see this forum paving the way for various benefit realizations as part of the industry and collaborative efforts across the different industry leaders that will be part of our forum. They'll provide them an integrated industry experience to collaborate and work towards sustainable, inclusive AI systems in financial services. However, the biggest value add that I see as part of this project is a robust governance framework that will provide the AI best practices based on the current industry trends, some of the things discussed in the forum, and some of the other best practices that all the sponsors collaboratively work towards identifying. And then Vector will be providing this output as part of that. So now this won't be the first time this has been done. We have seen similar examples of similar projects being done within a similar industry, just a different context. For example, the DCAM framework released by the EDM Council is now considered the industry standard guideline on the practice of data management in financial industry. Therefore, we can work towards a similar vision through our project to create an industry-wide value chain for AI governance that lasts. Finally, some of the key takeaways that I've had as part of this wonderful process and so many different projects that worked out of Vector. Looking back, I will say it's been the people at Vector that have been so impactful for my journey so far. The 4 months have flown by, and I know the next 4 will as well. But I just want to thank everyone who's been involved in both my personal and professional development as part of that. What started off as an empty toolbox has been full of different tools and different perspectives that I've gained from all the wonderful people here and everyone that I can see, but they can't see me. But I also want to keep building some of my AI PM techniques, some of the things that have been taught to me by my primary project manager and some of the other ones. This also inspired me to write my own PMP examination, which I'm appearing a week from now, so I don't know what I'm doing here. But looking forward, I also want to be able to gain some more AI industry experiences. I see that there's a lot of different practical frameworks that might not work in practical life. So I want to be able to implement these as part of my practice as well and apply some of the knowledge insight into practice. Lastly, I want to acknowledge a few amazing individuals from all the different teams that have given me such a fruitful experience. I would like to start with the Applied Projects team that put me on this project. Thanks for helping me through the interview process. I would like to thank the Fastlane team, the governance team, and last but certainly not least, all the wonderful interns and intern teams I've had a pleasure of getting to know in the last few months. And with that, I will like to conclude my presentation. Thank you very much. Open for questions.
Awesome. I think this is working. Okay. Hi. I had a question about the framework you had where you evaluate a company with the pyramid. Yeah, so the benchmarking needs. So is this like a survey or a questionnaire that, every company fills in and you give them a score?
Great question. Yeah. So I think for us, this is more of a needs assessment tool. So the reason why we currently see the value in having something like this is because we don't really know what field we're playing in, right? So the expectations from sponsors, because this is a highly different project than some of the other ones we've had, is that we don't know exactly what they would aim to have as part of this. It could just be a discussion around the best practices. It could be something to do with frameworks that they want to come with themselves. So what we want to do with this is basically push the narrative that not every single company has to be benchmarking to the same bucket, but we're able to bring in different contexts, different needs, and different capabilities together as a way to have a collaborative discussion. So I think this is more for us than for them, but I'm sure as part of that needs assessment process, we will be reaching out to them to be able to gauge what exactly it is that they're looking for as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I just have a question. Have you thought about a plan to document and synthesize the input that you receive from your participants following the session?
Yes, actually, we just had a brief discussion about this 2 days ago, but as of now, the current plan is to have some of the Vector representatives, both technical and non-technical, in the room that are able to kind of take that input into actionable insights, because we do want Vector to play the role that they're expected to play this part, which is give the insights, make them in a way that's easily digestible, but also kind of forward-facing. So our goal is to have facilitators. We don't know exactly if it's going to be just PMs, if it's going to be like a neutral body, but the goal is to have them and then have them document as part of the process. Yeah. Thanks for the question.
So one of the questions I had as you went through this was how you might deal with the fact that I imagine many of our sponsors have various levels of compliance that they need to meet and also that they would like to meet. So hospitals have significantly larger data governance burdens than, I don't know, Envision AI, which we just saw a presentation on, right? So I'm wondering if you have a strategy to try and bridge that large divide between companies and make the discussion meaningful for both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, that's a great question. So just to provide a little more context, so with this project, the goal is to replicate this for different industries. So as of now, we're starting with the financial industries, and at the same time, I think that point does apply because even within the industry, there's so many different contexts, so many different capabilities. So our goal is to trying to benchmark that by asking them ahead of time and then finding commonalities that we can then integrate as part of the discussion prompts. Yeah. And then replicate it for healthcare and other ones that we'll be doing in the future as well.
Just a quick comment. Is there any room for fast-lane companies to join these, or is there like a plan for? Because I know that, in a sense, they're smaller companies, but they do have some more, I would say, more extreme kind of views than what you would typically see from a corporation. Kind of see that with the roundtables with generative AI. So just wondering if there's room for these, and should that be separate, or should that also be included with these corporate sponsors too?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point, because the variation, as I was talking about earlier, only comes from when we do open the floor for a lot of different diversity when it comes to that. So as of now, I think we're looking into, within the financial industry at least, for this project, we're looking into the corporate sponsors that have expressed their engagement in previous projects. But I think the way we want to do this is, once we do have the format, we want this to be replicated for multiple different industries and organizations. So whether that's a fast-lane forum or whether that's a health forum, we want to be able to replicate the similar discussion. And I think that is something we're using as a challenge right now as well. Like, we want to keep it relatively open-ended, where we're focusing on the big pictures. And that's, I think, critical, because if it is senior executive that's involving, they won't care about the nitty-gritty stuff. They won't care about some of the things at the bottom-up level, but we need to focus a little more on the analogous up, top, down. So I think if we can do this successfully, which fingers crossed, I think we should be able to replicate this for the fast-lane companies or some of the other industries that we end up working with. Yeah, thanks for the question.